What's going on? It's Jeff Newport from ChasingStrength.com. And in today's video, we are going to cover the 3 simple steps to getting stronger and burning off body fat at the same time or in the same training period using your kettlebells. Okay, so let's jump in. In case you didn't know, the Holy Grail of strength training is to be able to dump unwanted body fat, right? Strip off that body fat and put on some muscle while getting stronger at the same time. In fact, I dare say that most people these days think it can't be done. Or if it can, it's usually done sequentially, like bodybuilders do it. So they run a bulk cycle to grow some muscle and get stronger, and then they run a cut cycle in order to strip off the body fat and get lean, right? So if you're lucky, many people using this type of cycle can keep what they gained in the first cycle, the bulk cycle, right? That lean muscle at the end of the second cycle. So in other words, if you gain 20 pounds of bulk in a 12-week period and you cut, you're up anywhere from 2 to 8 pounds at the end of your cutting cycle. Okay. It depends on how well you cut and how well you bulked. Unfortunately, for many, it's what we call net zero. So it's essentially 24 weeks of marking time, right? Just marching in place if you've done 12 weeks of bulk, 12 weeks of cut, right? Now, I'm here to tell you that there is, in fact, a better way. Now, I've been using this particular method or particular style, whatever you want to call it, on and off for over 25 years, and specifically the last 13 plus years with kettlebells, okay? It works every time for those who can follow the instructions, okay? So here is how you do it. Step 1, you are going to lift heavy for you, okay? Not heavy for me, but heavy for you. To do this, we use what are called repetition maximums or RMs, and we base our training off of these RMs. I like to use heavy RMs, so 5 RM is like one of my favorite. You can use 4 to 6, that's a good range, okay? And using RMs in this rep range uses our biggest, strongest, most energy hungry. You can also read calorie burning there. That's what most energy hungry means. Muscle fibers, which are the type 2X and type 2A fast twitch muscle fibers. Okay. Specifically, we're really looking to get into the type 2X. And that's because they require a lot of energy. And they are the first ones that you start to lose after the age of 30. In fact, men lose 10% of their fast twitch muscle fibers per decade if they don't specifically target them or train them. All right. So that's step 1. Step 2 is lift as explosively as possible. So it is, everybody's figured this out who's using kettlebells, right? They are exceptional for lifting explosively. And in my estimation, based on my experience, they are the great equalizer, so to speak, for those of us over 35, 45, 55, and 65 and even beyond. What that means is typically in the past, in order to be explosive, we would do sprints or plyometrics or jumps. But as you know, once you pass 35, 45, 55 and older, the joints become a little stiffer, the muscles become less pliable. And if you train that way, doing jumps and sprints and that sort of thing, most guys over the age of 35, 45, 55 and beyond will pick up an injury or two. Nothing like blowing Achilles tendon doing a box jump. I know this sounds kind of crazy, right? Or maybe it doesn't sound crazy, but regardless, I just got an email the other day from a 69-year-old gentleman who says he's getting leaner and stronger and more muscular following these methods using one of my programs, right? Based on the 2 steps that we are just discussed, lifting heavy, lifting explosively, lifting as explosively as possible, actually. And then the next step that we're going to cover. Okay. So here's the deal. Explosive lifting, it not only produces a lot of work, but it also can burn a lot of calories and is great for your metabolism. All right. And just like lifting heavy for you, okay, explosive lifting also uses those type 2X and sometimes type 2A fast twitch muscle fibers. So last step, step 3 is we are going to manage fatigue. Okay. What do I mean by manage fatigue? What I mean is we're not actively going to seek it out like many modern methods or training systems do. Okay. So we're not training to the brink of failure. We're not training to throw up on our shoes. We're not training to pass out on the floor. We don't want to be lying in a pool of sweat, vomit, or whatever, right? After a workout. Nope. Right. We want to manage it. Okay. Again, I'm not saying eliminate it. I'm saying manage it. So we don't need to rest like 5 to 10 minutes between sets, right? Those luxurious rest periods, as some people call them, like powerlifters typically do, right? Nope, not at all. But what we do need to do is we need to rest just enough to produce high rates of force. And that actually is what produces the power, okay? And that is what enables you to lift heavy and explosively. Okay. So said another way, if I could just say that a little more succinctly, right? We rest just enough to produce the highest rates of force and power as possible. How much rest is that exactly? Specifically, can you quantify it? Well, it depends on the person and his or her training background. Okay. So for example, if you have a fairly good endurance base and you've been doing lots of kettlebell ballistics, that rest time or those rest periods are going to be lower than somebody who doesn't. So maybe a guy who's coming from powerlifting and hasn't done a lot of traditional cardiovascular fitness for the last 10 years because he's been busy bulking up, right? He's put on 2-3 weight classes. Okay. So he's going to need to rest longer. Okay. What you will notice, however, is that your rest times will decrease as you get stronger and get in better shape. Okay. So whether you're just using a single kettlebell or a pair of kettlebells, or you're mixing and matching, right? These 3 steps, these principles, if you will, they just plain work, and they work all the time if you use them correctly. Okay. Now I get it. It's natural to be skeptical and think that this couldn't possibly work for you, especially if you failed in the past, right? Trying to strip off body fat while maintaining your strength and even growing some muscle at the same time, or stripping off body fat, growing muscle, and getting stronger at the same time, especially, if you've used the bulk cut cycle and lost your gains. But what I want to do is I'm going to flash a couple of testimonials, some emails that I've gotten from guys who have been following these methods, these principles, whatever you want to call them, these 3 steps. All right. And we'll flash them up here on the screen, and we'll just read the underlined highlighted pieces of text and copy for you. Okay. So this first one is from George. He's, you can see here, he's using a fat loss beta test currently, but he was writing in about another program that he used. He said, if you want a little more concrete feedback on your programs, I think Kettlebell MAXIMORUM is your best program yet. He said the 2 days of grinds and 2 days of snatches of MAXIMORUM are the best of both worlds. He said, I'm in my 40s and I had 2 abdominal surgeries earlier this year. I couldn't lift anything for 12-ish weeks to avoid a hernia. MAXIMORUM was my first official program back, and after a month of lifting practice, I went from a little out of shape and deconditioned to the leanest and most muscular I've ever been, with fantastic conditioning, all thanks to MAXIMORUM. All right, I think those are pretty good results. Best shape ever, okay? Especially coming off a operation. So the second one here is from John. We're going to throw this up. He said, I'm working through Kettlebell MAXIMORUM and loving it, but I'm starting to hit my stride. In week 4, I have dropped about 5 pounds of fat, and it is staying off, and the bells are feeling lighter. So in 4 weeks, he's lost about 1.25 pounds per week. Pretty good. Let's see this last one here. It is from Matthew. Okay. And Matthew says, hey, I'm about to finish MAXIMORUM. I had great results. I added 10 pounds. So 10 pounds of body weight. Okay. Maintained a 34-inch waist and bought 2XL shirts. So results were very similar to the beta, but I didn't feel beat up like I did about week 9 of the beta. All right. So that's Kettlebell MAXIMORUM. That is actually a mixed program using these 3 steps, principles, methods, whatever you want to call them. And it uses single and double kettlebells. That may not be for you. You may not be advanced yet to hit double kettlebell work. So what I'm going to do is, not only will I leave a link to Kettlebell MAXIMORUM in the description below if you want to check it out, I'll also leave a link for a single kettlebell fat loss, get strong kind of training program that uses these 3 principles. It's called Kettlebell Burn 2.0. I'll leave that link in the video below. Regardless, whether you check those out or not, I hope you found the information in this video helpful. It gives you some idea how to plan your own programs if you don't want to pick up a professionally designed one. Okay. If you did, go ahead and click the like button. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button. If you found it really helpful, pass this on, share this video with one of your friends or multiple friends. All right. Until next time, my friend, stay strong.